Welcome to the Top Shelf Literary Editions. This is episode 8. Thank you for hanging in this long. Hope you've been enjoying the series. My name is Ernest Whiteman III. I'm a Northern Arapaho filmmaker, artist, writer, and media educator. And we're taking a look at my proverbial top shelf of books that I have that I want to share with you. I'll pull one off. I've already pre-selected a list, and I'm going to share them with you, give a short synopsis, a review if I've read it, and the reason why I purchased that particular copy or copies. And as a way of just sharing, just more than movies with you. All right. Today's book is Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove. This is the 25th anniversary edition. Now Larry McMurtry is probably one of the most prolific Western writers out there. He writes a lot about stories of Texas, I think, where he's from. And Lonesome Dove is probably his most remembered book. He won the Pulitzer Prize for it. It's about two Texas Rangers, or former Texas Rangers, who have been living in the town of Lonesome Dove for a number of years and decide that, they've had enough, and decide to gather cattle and drive a huge herd to Montana from Texas. And all of the things that happen along the way, the adventures, the people they meet. And it ends tragically, of course, as anybody knows how the story goes. Was later produced into a CBS miniseries with Tommy Lee Jones and Robert Duvall playing the two leads of Woodrow F. Call and Augustus McCrae, respectively. And garnered huge, it's still the highest rated miniseries ever. But the book actually had a very humble start. It started out as a screenplay written by McMurtry for John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, and Henry Fonda to play. And the respective roles were John Wayne was supposed to play Call, Jimmy Stewart was supposed to play Augustus McCrae, and Henry Fonda was supposed to play the character Jake Spoon. And but then it didn't sell, or the project fell through, and he shelved it for a number of years. And according to him, one day he just started writing it. When he looked at looking for ideas, he saw that that script was on there, and he started to just write it. And he wrote this very long manuscript, and of course won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction for it. And everybody remembers the TV series more so than the book. And when I first bought this book, it was not long after the miniseries came out, and my brothers, who are cowboys, really enjoyed the series, and so did I. And without regard to the native representations in it, just enjoyed the story and the characters. And I took a job. I took a job on a graveyard shift of security work for the tribal housing, and that meant I had to drive reservation wide to all the housings in the reservation from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. the next morning. And this is one of the books I chose to read on while I was working. First time I read it was actually, I read it with another book. I read it concurrently on this job, and the other book I read was The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice, which I don't have in my book collection. And it was a weird, thing to flop from one to the other, but I kept up with them, and I did enjoy the book. There's a lot of pieces that were left out of the miniseries, very important things. Then I read it again, I think maybe a year or two after that, before I moved out here. Then when I saw this in the bookstore, I thought maybe I should try it again, and I bought it and read it, and almost went through it pretty quickly. And there's a lot of things I noticed in here that really made me realize how much the TV series really undersold the book. Really shortchanged the book, I should say. There's a lot of great characterizations in this book, and I know for TV it's a visual medium, so they have to do a lot of things visually, and they can't go into like the backstories. But one is he does portray natives pretty well in this. The natives they have interactions with, the Texas Rangers realized, yeah, we're invading their country. Why wouldn't they act that way? Which is a really cool, thing for characters of their metal to sort of come to an understanding about. The other one was that they actually traded and talked and spoke and were sometimes knew the natives that are in the story. There's a whole short episode of Newt getting lost, and this group of Indian boys help him get back to the herd, which was pretty cool. And so, besides, other than that, the greatest, reading this book again, I really realized how much they really shortchanged the character of Woodrow F. Call. In the TV show, he's portrayed by the great Tommy Lee Jones, and it's a great performance, but he's this gruff, taciturn fellow that, follows this rigid code of, I hate rude behavior, which they really play to the hilt in all the TV shows. But the book Call is far more fatherly towards Newt than in the TV series. In the show, he treats Newt really gruffly, like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with him because he's the son of a prostitute, and I don't want to claim him as mine. But throughout the book, he's always mentoring Newt. He's showing him how to track. He's showing him how to rig his horse. He's showing him how to, what guns to bring along on their escapades. He's always mentoring it. And in the book, he knows why he doesn't claim Newt. And of course, they give that argument. All of the things that Gus McCrae tells Call in the TV show, like the boy's a living reminder of his failure to his mother. Those are realizations that Call comes to on his own. And in this, I read that Augustus is more of a creeper guy. He's always wanting to bed women, and he's always starting trouble. He's like those good-natured assholes that that just sort of like poke and prod at people, and you just you tolerate them because they're fun to be around, and they tell good stories. But they oversold Gus, and they shortchanged Call in the miniseries. But that's just how I interpreted it. The fact that the only failing towards Newt that Call ever did was not giving his name at the end, and even he realizes that the moment that he does it. So he wasn't this stout, taciturn fellow in the book. He was the guy that was, did encompass deep feeling for this boy, and which is why he was questioning himself throughout the book. Well, why am I a leader of men when I can't even take this boy as my son? When I can't even take responsibility for a life I created? Why am I suddenly responsible for leading all these men to Montana and in the Rangers? So they really did undersell the Woodrow F. Call character in this. I've actually been sort of like writing things out of how I would do this as a Netflix series. And it's just a fun exercise. But Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove, Pulitzer Prize-winning book for fiction, is today's book that I'm sharing with you. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.